Hi everyone, I am Madhavi, your biology teacher from BRGS. Today's lesson is life process. The topic is respiration. What is respiration? The process of breaking down of food to release energy. So in the digestive system, the breaking down of food takes place. So from that, the complex substances converts into simpler forms and absorbed by blood and carried out through all parts of the body. So then the respiration takes place. Here the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. So why do we know the differences between photosynthesis and respiration? Means, as we all know that plants do photosynthesis, and one more thing is also there, plants do respiration also. So that is the reason, let us know the differences between photosynthesis and respiration. In photosynthesis, it takes place in the green cells only. So wherever the green pigment is present in the plants, there photosynthesis take place. And here respiration, it takes place in all the living cells. And photosynthesis, it takes place during daytime. During sunlight is present, then photosynthesis takes place in plant. And here respiration, it takes place throughout the life of the organisms. So throughout the life, respiration takes place. Next, in photosynthesis, energy is stored here. So energy is stored in the form of glucose. In last classes, we have learnt about it. And here respiration, energy is released. Energy is released in respiration. And carbon dioxide and water are used up. So in the photosynthesis, some things used in this photosynthesis, those are all carbon dioxide and water. And in respiration, food and oxygen are used up. In photosynthesis, food and oxygen are produced. So the what are the things produced in the photosynthesis means food and oxygen. And the respiration, carbon dioxide and water are produced. And photosynthesis is anabolic activity. Anabolic activity means here the simpler forms in photosynthesis, the simpler forms get together and it will produce complex substance, that is glucose. In the respiration, it is catabolic activity. So in the respiration, means all the complex substances convert into simpler forms. So that is called catabolic activity. And in the photosynthesis, dry weight of organism is increased. So obviously here what happens, the energy is stored finally in photosynthesis. That is why the organism dry weight is increased. In respiration, dry weight of the organism is decreased. And photosynthesis, enzymes are located in the chloroplasts. This is very important point. Enzymes are located in the chloroplasts in photosynthesis. And in respiration, enzymes are located in the mitochondria. So in the mitochondria, all the enzymes which are required for respiration, so in the mitochondria. And let us move ahead. This is human respiratory system in our body. In human beings, the air is taken into body from nostrils. This air is filtered by the nostrils and mucus. From here, the air passes through the throat into the lungs. And after that, the air enters into the trachea. Then the trachea further divided into two tubes. Those are called bronchi. And this bronchi further divides into branches. So those branches are called bronchioles. And at the tip of the bronchioles, air sacs are present. Those are called alveoli. So in the alveoli, all the thin blood vessels are connected to this alveoli, and there gas exchanges will be takes place. That is called internal respiration. And now let us know a better more understanding. So let us see these visuals.
All organisms are made of microscopic units called cells. A cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. Every cell of an organism performs certain functions such as nutrition, transport, excretion, and reproduction. To perform these functions, the cell needs energy. All living organisms respire to get energy from food. When we breathe in air which contains oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. The air we breathe in is transported to all the parts of our body and ultimately to each cell. In the cells, the oxygen helps in breaking down the food. The process of breakdown of food in the cell is called cellular respiration. Through a process called glycolysis, glucose is converted to pyruvic acid, which breaks down into water and carbon dioxide with the help of oxygen. When breakdown of glucose happens with the help of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. Food can also be broken down in the absence of oxygen, which is known as anaerobic respiration. This happens mostly in case of prokaryotes, which are single-celled organisms living in environments devoid of oxygen. Our muscles can also respire anaerobically. During high exercise like cycling or weightlifting, the demand for energy is high, but the supply of oxygen is limited. That is when anaerobic respiration takes place in the body to satisfy the demand of energy. This results into the production of lactic acid from pyruvic acid. A high concentration of lactic acid might impair the muscles, leading to cramps. In the process of breathing, we take the oxygen present in the air through our nostrils, which is called inhalation, giving out air rich in carbon dioxide, which is called exhalation. It is a continuous process that goes on throughout the life of an organism. The respiratory system moves the air through the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and bronchi to the alveoli, where the gas exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs. Nares are the opening to the nose, through which the air passes to the nasal cavity. The air then continues to move into the pharynx or throat, the common passageway for food and air. The air then moves on to the larynx. The epiglottis, a tissue in front of the larynx, closes off the larynx when swallowed to prevent food from entering. The larynx or voice box contains the vocal folds. The trachea or windpipe connects the larynx to the bronchial tree. The cartilaginous rings of the trachea prevent it from collapsing. Lungs are spongy tissues with alveoli and blood capillaries. Breathing occurs because of the expansion and contraction of the lungs. The primary muscle of respiration is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a thin dome-shaped layer of muscle and tendons that separates the abdominal cavity from the chest cavity. The diaphragm attaches along the lower rib cage, high in front of the sternum, and deeply in the back along with the spine. It also attaches to itself by an essential tendon. The diaphragm uses its central tendon and its attachments as a leverage to flatten during inhalation. The expansion of the ribs comes from the resistance of the internal organs to downward movement. As the internal organs are slow to move, the ribs expand to make room for the lungs. The bronchi carrying the air subdivide into smaller branches called bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole are the alveolar sacs, which are surrounded by blood capillaries and contain millions of single-layered alveoli cells, where the gas exchange takes place. Oxygenated air passes through the nose and reaches the alveoli by the process of diffusion. Oxygen in the air moves the alveoli to the capillaries. Carbon dioxide moves from the capillaries to the alveoli and is exhaled, bringing the process of respiration to an end. Unlike the other animals, which have chest cavities like human beings, insects like cockroaches have a different respiratory system. A cockroach has small openings on its body called spiracles. Insects have a network of air tubes called trachea for gas exchange. Earthworms are one of the few insects that breathe through their skin. The skin of an earthworm is extremely moist and slimy. Unlike animals living on land, fish breathe or get their oxygen from water. Instead of using lungs, fish breathe with the help of organs called gills. Most fish have 4 pairs of gills enclosed in a gill chamber on each side of the head. On the outside of the body, a flap of bone called the gill cover protects the gills of bony fish. To get oxygen, fish gulp water through the mouth and pump it over the gills. In many fish, the breathing process begins when the gill covers close and the mouth opens. The walls of the mouth then move inwards. The mouth partially closes and the gill covers open. This action forces the water from the mouth into the gill chamber. In case of plants, the roots transport the minerals and water to the leaves. Carbon dioxide is taken in through the tiny pores on the surface of the leaves, known as stomata. In this process, plants release oxygen with the help of which we breathe in order to survive.
So let's have a recap. Air passes through first external nostrils and it passes through nasal cavity and pharynx and larynx, and next the air enters into trachea and then goes to bronchi, and bronchi further divides into branches called bronchioles. Then air passes through bronchioles and finally it enters into alveolar sacs. There gaseous exchange will be taking place. So this is about the process of respiration very briefly. In the next coming lesson we will discuss a little more deeper about this respiration, that is about anaerobic and aerobic respirations also we will get to know little more deeper. Thank you. Have a nice day.